Hello, everyone, and welcome to my universe. I've changed my setup a little bit here, so let me know if my microphone sounds funny. I recently got a USB hub that I can plug things into, so this way I will have better access to my microphone, and maybe I can bring it upstairs to my closet and record things there without having to make sure everyone's asleep, because I do not want to be perceived while I am just recording things. Anyway, the downside of having a family, you don't get alone time, and sometimes I feel a little bit too cringe to do some of these things. Or I'm worried about being interrupted or something. Anyway, so back to figuring out this pose, and I'm just like, oh my god, why did I pick this? No, it's okay. So, I just want to talk a little bit about the things that I'm noticing from looking at it again. Okay, first things first. I'm thinking about changing the expression a little because, I don't know, there's like a particular expression on delinquent type characters. I'm not going to do that yet, though. I also kind of like this one, so I haven't decided which one I'm going to go for. But I kind of want to be able to see her facial proportions very well, so that this way I can hopefully get the proportions on the rest of her body okay. So, last time I focused mostly on the perspective. It was hell. I think I'm probably a good chunk of the way through it. Now, I want to focus on getting the elements right and proportions, and getting the elements kind of proportionate to each other. That doesn't mean I can completely ignore the perspective, though, because one of the first things I noticed was if we look at the shape here. So the way you make things look in perspective, I kind of did it a little bit with this rectangle here. Is as they get far away, they kind of get closer together. So you see that this rectangle, the way it's going down, makes it look like this part is pointing away from us, and then this point is coming towards us. But when I look at the picture here, I see her shoulders, and then I see her knees, and would you look at that? They're going outward. And of course that makes sense, because of the way the legs are pointed. But because of what I'm going for perspective, it feels a little bit weird. Furthermore, I wanted to draw a delinquent squat. The big part of a delinquent squat is the legs. Currently, the legs are basically completely covered by her arms. So this arm cannot be resting on her leg like I was initially hoping to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually destroy everything. Okay, so I'm going to figure out something else to do with this arm. And this arm has to move a little bit. This way we can see her leg better. And this is a bit counterintuitive for me, because normally when I want to show something is further away than something else, I put something else in front of it. It's a very good way to do it. Very easy. All you have to do is put it in front. No grids, no shenanigans. But in this case, because I kind of want to emphasize the squat a little bit more, I actually kind of want to keep the hand away. I'm probably going to put a corner of the hand in the bat above the leg here. But this is too much. This is too much, and it totally pulls away from the squat. So, I've kind of got a lot of weird little things to fix. And it's all very difficult, because I like making things hard on myself. It's how I roll. So, I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do about that yet. So for now, I'm just gonna hide her arm real quick. We can keep the sleeve, that's fine. And I'm gonna kind of focus on the leg part again. It's hard because she has really narrow shoulders, but I need the legs to be coming out. So how do I kind of keep my perspective while giving her frog legs, basically? The struggles of the artist. I think that this particular pose can still work. I think I can make it work. I just gotta figure out how. And I've been staring at this for the last 20 minutes, just being like, oh dear Lord, how? But it's doable. So let's try some stuff. So first thing I want to try, I do kind of want to tuck this a little bit further in to her body. It's going to make the leg a little bit shorter, but I think that kind of thing will work. Because when I look at some of my references, like the knees are way further out compared to the shoulders. But, the but being important. Since we're mostly seeing things from above, and I think I can even make it so we're seeing more of this from above. So let's kind of make the side part a little bit more narrow. So we kind of have a side there. Then this will kind of come back. And we see a little bit more of the top, and I think that'll make it okay. This is still a little bit wider than the shoulders. But I think it'll be okay. I'm gonna go try it with the other leg here. And we'll see how it works out. I'm honestly a little bit terrified. I'm not entirely sure if it will work out, but what I'm kind of hoping for here is that this kind of pose emphasizes the chest a little bit more, and it's also going to be like right on either side of the head there, so I'm kind of hoping that the line of action will just work, and it'll just have a nice triangle and stuff like that. You know, when in doubt, just a triangle. It'll be great. But this is one where my confidence is perhaps a little bit lower than I would like. But it's okay. That's what science is for. I try something, and we'll see how it all works out. But I will say, if you're having trouble with a drawing, it's okay to just try things. You don't have to know everything from the beginning. I certainly don't. It's very, very rare that I kind of know what I'm doing right away. Sometimes I get the idea in my head and it just kind of all comes together and it's fantastic. But especially when I'm trying something new or something that I find pretty difficult, a lot of the time I do kind of just gotta flail around a bit. Okay. I am feeling the perspective a little bit more strongly than I was before. Can I go back? Okay, no, I really can't go back to what it was before. That's okay. I believe. And then my other question to myself was, what about the tummy? Should I just get rid of it? I don't know, with the legs right there, the tummy actually looks pretty okay. So I'll go ahead and keep it there. Maybe just push it very slightly back. Alright. Alright, indeed. Look, I just look at it, and I am terrified. So, I know that one idea that I had for this arm was if we go look at her reference image, she's got this little... I assume it's like a stink bomb of some kind. I can't actually remember what she called it during her debut. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I think I'll just have the other arm doing this. So it fits with the pose of the model, so that works for me. So I think I will do that. How am I feeling? Okay, I'm going to trust for a little bit, and I'm going to turn her arms back on. Unfortunately, this did exactly what I wanted with the hand here, where it's only covering like a little corner of it. I still might push it just a little bit further away, so maybe like right here. That works for me, I think. And just align the bat as necessary. I'll figure out shenanigans at the sleeve and the bat overlapping here later. It doesn't really matter right now. This is... I gotta figure out how to arrange everything. Hello there, Tito. Welcome back. And what do you mean? She's fine. Look. She's tiny, okay? So if she was gonna do a squat while trying to loom over someone, she'd probably end up looking up at them. Let's be real. So, that's how it worked out. All right. I am just trying... It's a weird pose. It's very weird. And... this leg is too long. But, I'm trying to find the right combination of a position to be able to do the things I want here. So let's see. I think this leg is also not quite right. I think it needs to go further back. When I look at references of this kind of pose, the legs are generally like right underneath. So I was kind of going for that, but I'm not quite sure if it works. It's how do I explain? I think I basically I just need to get this leg further back here. Perspective just makes everything very hard. But I like the way it looks, and I want to get better at it. And the way you get better at it is you draw lots of pictures and you flail hard. So that's what I'm doing. And this is probably the weirdest one of the bunch so far. I swear, I just get progressively more ambitious, and I should stop that. It's okay. The remaining ones of Saga here, the remaining 3, I have them kind of planned out in my head. They are easier than this. So, I am hopeful that I won't just torture myself quite as hard for some of these later ones. But, you know, it's fine. It's totally fine. Like I said, it's how you get good. So I'm just gonna go through and try to do the thing that I really want to know how to do. And I don't think that connects quite right, but I think I can make it connect okay, but now it's really small, and... Pause and blink indeed. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna do this on a separate layer. Okay, so I have the upper leg there, and I'm gonna put the lower leg on a different layer. This way, I can flail to my heart's content and all will be well. So, let's shape the knee just right here. Okay. Arms gotta go away. The bat too. Okay. So, gotta shape this part just right. And she does have pretty good-sized thighs relative to the rest of her body mass. So, we gotta make sure she's nice and strong. And then the annoying part of this stance, I kind of have it drawn, is that the knees go up. And with us looking at her from above, that's hard. Because when you're looking at something from above, if it's coming towards you just a little bit, that's not super easy to see. Also, I'm happy to see that my chat is working again. Dang nabbit stream elements. Either break or work. I didn't even do anything. It's like if it was consistently broken, then I could at least try to look into it and see why it's all bad, but the fact that it only sometimes breaks, or lately only sometimes works, I guess I should say, is actually kind of annoying because I don't know what to do now. I don't know why it's broken sometimes. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna do my best again to try to get this knee to come toward us slightly. I'm just gonna hide the shape for now, since that's not at all relevant, and right now, I just want to know what the heck I'm trying to do with the pose. I mean, I know what I'm doing with the pose. I think I've got the basics down. I think it's obvious to anyone that's looking at it what I'm attempting to do here, but nonetheless, I think that there's things I can do to sell it better. So let's see, just for reasons. No. I like the angle of this one better than this one. So I'm not gonna draw this twice. Alright. We're just gonna do this leg. So once again, I'm trying to get this knee to appear higher than this part here. A part of that is just going to be, this part is going to be in shadow, and that will make it look lower by default, but I do not think that is sufficient. So I'm trying to adjust the angle of everything to kind of pull it up a little. That's kind of my hope here. And this is why I tell myself, embrace scuff. Draw more things. Actually, you know, that angle I think was not intentional, but that is actually perfect. Yes. Okay, so what I was talking about there, we have this guy. This was me trying to figure out what's going on with the knee. So you can see that we got the top plane there, then we got the side plane here, and it kind of goes out down into the shin. And I realized that if I wanted to be showing some extreme perspective, then if this was a, let's call it a trapezoid here. So I kind of have this kind of shape going for the leg. And if I wanted this part to be going down, I would draw that like this, right? And then whatever other side I show, we just get a little bit more there. So, you know, something like that. Or I guess I probably have it going the other way, actually. But regardless, it goes down hard. And I wasn't doing that. I had this going more straight down, like I would if we were looking at it more head-on. But then I just accidentally erased a little bit too much, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, this actually makes way more sense. So, there we go. Hand had good ideas, and it solved a problem for me. Thank you, Hand. Okay. And I want to make sure I get the legs right. Because the legs were like the most important part of the pose for me. It is a delinquent squat. You cannot have a delinquent squat without legs. Still really would like this to be higher looking. Can I, like... Oh yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Of course. Of course. Okay, I'll tell you what just clicked for me here. Is that, before, when I was up here, you can see that the width here across this part and the width here across this part were about the same. And what I just realized I had to do was make the part over here narrower. Easy. Of course. Super basic perspective stuff. When you want to send things away, you make them smaller. And when you want things to come towards you, you make them bigger. Easy. And yet I wasn't doing it. Okay. I can tell I was really tired at the end of last stream, and maybe at the start of this one, I've just been a little bit overwhelmed because I'm just looking at this like, oh my god, this is hard. But no, I just gotta remember the basic rules. Use them well. And then I can figure it out, and it'll be fantastic. Okay. So we're gonna make that narrower and this wider. They should not be parallel, they should converge. Oh man, that did so much. Let's get this over to the other side. And then I'm gonna draw the lower legs. I'm still gonna do that on a separate layer. I'm struggling hard enough that I'm gonna break things out. Oh, whoops. I didn't realize that I drew that on the leg layer, not the doodle layer. That's fine. Okay, so this seems okay. I'm worried that the legs are a little small, or more accurately, short. So what I think I'm going to do before I merge them together, I'm going to kind of bring them out just a little bit more. It's just also hard. I was talking about this just a little while ago, but you know, I got to look at this box. If I want to make them look further away, they got to kind of follow the V shape here. But because a delinquent squat will have the legs wider than the shoulders, I'm in a little bit of a pickle in that I really cannot have the shoulders up here too much wider than the legs down here. Otherwise, the pose will look weird. And life is hard. So I kind of got to find that right balance, and I'm not actually quite sure what it is. That's gonna be something I just got to figure out. And, you know, that's okay. I can do that. I gotta figure out lots of things. It'll be fine. And then I want to make sure that I keep the shape of this kind of the shape of the leg. Let the thigh do thigh things. I think this is okay, though. It is a little bit wider than her shoulders, but especially when I look at this side and I see the arm coming out, it doesn't look weird. I'll leave it there for now. I'll adjust it as necessary as I get the arms in. So I guess before we go and start screaming about arms, I'm going to be screaming about legs. I guess they're also pretty tubular, so, you know, makes sense. Alright. And then I had my doodle here. And the thing that I concluded... shins and calves are attached to the knee. Yeah, go figure. I feel like sometimes I'm kind of having to reinvent the wheel and just remember things that I have known for a long time. But, yeah. Sounds like art, honestly. It's really easy to forget things that you used to know. I will be uploading a short, a time-lapse after stream today. I meant to do it yesterday, but stuff happened. And, it's all about me revisiting old techniques, and I had actually forgotten quite a lot of how I used to do some of those things, and it was actually kind of crazy. But I might do a little bit more of that periodically. It's been a while since I've drawn anything in grayscale. Okay, that seems alright. And then if I bring the foot underneath, I'm just thinking about how the foot would work here. Because, like, it's connected at the back of the calf there. But the heel does stick out just a little bit, and we are, like, super above here. So I think something like this is actually accurate. And the big thing that's not accurate is this, where I feel like I need to perspective it harder. This is where I ask myself, would it be a little bit easier on me if I just, instead of going from almost directly above, if I just tilted the camera down a little bit, we saw just a little bit more of her front side here. But that sounds like quitter talk. So, you know what? I'll think about it later. But, you know, right now, I want to give this a try. I don't actually think this looks too bad. I mean, I gotta move the foot again, but... Okay, yeah, I think I can get behind this. Let's see. And I think I can get away with just making the whole thing black as well. Because that kind of makes it look shadowed and like everything is just kind of going down. I think that looks pretty squatty. Yes. Hello there, Snuffle. And yes, this is a Nitya Nil of Phase Connect. And I have been doing many an experiment with a weird perspective. I want to get good. And so I'm making things very hard on myself. But I think it's working. I think I will be able to piece this together and make something coherent by the end. So, I am choosing to believe in myself right now. We'll see how that works out for me. But if you haven't heard of her, I do recommend watching her. She is very fun. Always seems like she's having a great time. I'm just kind of talking my way through things here, and... now that I have a rough idea of the perspective I'm going for, I just did some correction there, but... I think I've mostly got it all working, so now I'm just trying to get the proportions to work. Which is hard with weird perspective. No, congrats. Pixel art is neat. I like it a lot. Good luck with your project. Alright. So now I'm going to try to get her torso shaped right. Because I think that should actually be a little bit more... like that. I just need to figure out... okay. When I look at shoulders, you have... well, let's go to my doodling layer. And I'll try to talk my way through this again. I'm gonna run out of space for random doodles here. That's okay. I can erase some when I don't really need it anymore. But when you look at shoulders, you have the head, and then they kind of... you got the neck coming out there, and then you got those big triangular muscles on the neck here. And then they kind of go into a shoulder. So we got a very broad-shouldered person here, I guess. Thank you. I'll need it for this one. But it's okay. We're learning bodily perspective here. And I want to see how far I can stretch things. Okay, so we got shoulders there, and they kind of connect into the arm. But when you are looking at shoulders, I should think of them as more a part of the arm rather than part of the torso. So the torso would actually kind of... yeah, line up a little bit more with the head itself. You know, I think that's probably a good way to look at it, actually. So if I were to look at this same guy from above, we'd see the arms come out. And I should think of this as the arms. And then the torso is actually more like in here. So then we have those big blocks where the arms come out. Okay. I'm gonna hide the arm again. Or more accurately, I'm just gonna hide the sleeve. And I'm gonna try to get the arm, or at least the shoulders there. Kind of working for me now. So I've got a bunch of layers hidden, but that's fine. Okay. So since this is directly above here, that means that the distinction where the arms come out is not going to be quite as strong as it is if I were to see her from the front. So I think we get something a little bit more like that. And then, if I think of this as the shoulder as part of the arm and not part of the torso, I get something like this. And I need it to be wider on the top, I think. Okay, I should think that part through. You know, I'm kind of glad that this reference that I picked up has her leaning forward, because I can kind of steal a little bit of the way the body's positioned there. Okay. Gotta close my eyes and picture things. You know, what else I can do? I will not be using shadows for this one, like I normally would, but I can pretend for a little while if it helps me. All the shadows here are going to be solid black. It is a stylistic choice. But I can pretend for a little while. Okay, so the part that I see from the top. This is what we see from the top. Everything else is going to be subject to, you know, being kind of folded down. So, let's go ahead and hide the arm here. I guess the hand can stay. It's not in the way right now. So when I think about it, I'm just going to turn everything into cubes because I see everything as cubes. I find it easier to deal with. I do not like round shapes. Or more accurately, I do like round shapes, just not when I am trying to figure things out. They look good after everything has been figured out. So let's see, we get something like that. I'm just thinking about which planes we're seeing and how they should all be shaped. And now this kind of goes very thoroughly down. I think I want the angle to be a little harsher. There we go. I think I want to see a little bit more of the top here. So I'm gonna stretch that out. I'm gonna stretch it out a lot, actually. Like, she's very skinny. But even so, there's a decent distance here. It's about the width of her head. Maybe slightly more. There we go. Yeah, I think something like that could work. I can kind of see it now. And then, strictly speaking, the rest of her torso would kind of continue like this until it kind of gets into the stomach there. So we'd be going down like that and probably get this kind of shape. And I think that makes sense. So I'll kind of follow that until I decide where I want her chest to come out there. Since we do see the top of it. And looks like I'll have to clean up the legs a little bit, but you know, that's fine. I can do that. So, I'm gonna hide the stomach for a second here. And just focus on her chest area. So let's see. They should go and kind of connect into her armpits here. That is roughly where they start. That should be somewhere around here. I'm gonna hide the ribbon real quick. Okay. Yeah, I remember last time I was pretty happy with where I kind of set everything. So I kind of had just the basics there done. But now I gotta actually get everything proportionate, and that's its own adventure. And I don't really like using grids for people. I do kind of think in terms of them, but I think that's a good way to make everything just a little bit too... how should I say? And no, I can't think of a good word, but stiff. Stiff is probably a good way to put it. So I just kind of want to feel it out a little. So there we go, we got the top of her chest there. I think that might be just a tad big. And then there'll be like a little bit of the shirt kind of hanging off there. There's the tears at the bottom of the shirt there. And it doesn't... She does not have an anime shirt, it looks like. Or maybe slightly. Does she? What I typically mean by anime shirt is that it hugs the shape of the breast so tightly that they might as well be one and the same. But no, it does look like it doesn't actually hang off. It looks like it is indeed tight through there. So I don't want it to be draping off the edge here. I want it to... Or maybe we have a little bit of a shadow part down there, where we see a few of the tears. And I'm just plopping those in roughly to give myself an idea of how that might work. I actually don't like the way it is right now, so I'm gonna do it more simply. So this part kind of comes up, but I don't think it reaches the top. Yeah. We're only concerned with up here. Okay. So over here, and then we just get a little bit of visibility at the very bottom here. And then, you know, little hairs in there just so I know what I'm looking at, and I think something like that will work. Let me go ahead and define the top again here versus parts that are kind of going down. So what happens here? The way I picture breasts is I picture them as a triangle. Not like a pyramid, but like a triangular prism. So they're just going forward. So we don't actually see the bottom plane of it at all. We just have this part going forward, and then it will attach to her chest somewhere up there. And we'll get this kind of shape. So this will be like the top. And the rest is all stuff that will be subject to the extreme perspective I'm going for here. So what we should get, something like that, goes around. Something like that goes around. And then I can pull this out just a little here. With a little bit of allowance for where they kind of connect into her arms there. Okay, that feels pretty legit. So I'm gonna roll with that for now. The legs are now all wonky, but I can fix that. I don't even think it'll be that hard. I just basically continue what I already drew and clean up any residue there. No problem. We just extend them a little, and that's okay. And then at some point, I'm going to want to figure out those feet. But, you know, nope, today had my nemesis named in all caps, so no, we're going to do arms. I think arms will just eternally be my art nemesis. They are the part of the body that I have the most difficulty drawing. You know, it's just a sign I need to draw them more. Not let yourself be ruled by something as silly as arms. Okay, so now this will be draping on the shoulders there. It doesn't actually, like... Yeah, it doesn't go all the way to the end of the shoulder. It does get close, though, and I think I actually want these turning the other way. Yeah. And then it goes down quite sharply. Okay. So now I got kind of the collar of her... shirt here going around, and I think something like that's about right. Okay, and we got that out there, and I think that's about right. Let's see. Turn her stomach back on. I think I'm going to push this back a little, but I do think I want it to be there. We're not, like, directly above. We are a little bit in front. You can see it on the legs here because we see this plane here. So the camera is a little bit in front of her. Just not very much. So, but I do think it's enough for her stomach to be showing there. So let's see. Further cleaning. And then I can figure something else out because, oh man. Today's gonna be another day where I'm just extremely tired after stream, I think. Good luck me. Alright. But so far so good. Let's go turn the arms back on. Or no, let's get the ribbon first. Okay. So I think I want the ribbon here to kind of be tucked in just a little bit more. I do think that we see a little bit of the part that is kind of underneath the collar there. Just a little bit of it. And incidentally, the collar here actually does get flatter as you go down. So I kind of want to capture that too. So I do think that means it goes under the chin just a little bit. And I'm looking at it and I'm wondering if her head's a little bit big or if it's just... I need to contrast the colors with her hair. Okay, no, the answer is I need to contrast the colors with her hair. Head might be big. Inconclusive. I'm gonna get the arms on before I start messing with that. Okay. So what I keep wanting to try with this ribbon is that if we look at the reference here, you see that there are parts that kind of sit on top of her chest there, and then there are parts that get below, that go below, because it's long enough for that. So I like the idea of having a piece of it kind of resting on top, and then just having it go down very, very fast. And I've tried to do that a few times, but I just have not been able to get the perspective quite right. So let's see if my friend the perspective tool can help me out here. We're just gonna send it like way down. Okay. Now that looks pretty good. Yeah, I think that works. I'm just gonna connect it a little bit better. But I think that works. Maybe make it just a touch longer. No, not like that. Just pull that point down. Be very gentle, very sparing. And then I think the other thing that will sell it is if I have the shadow on it. We'll just send it, like, straight down. Yeah, that works. Okay. And I think rather than drawing it a second time, I'm just going to duplicate this part, because this part looks fine. Part of me feels like I should just always draw all of it. And I think there's an argument to be made there. But you know what? I think I'm gonna let myself make my life just a little bit easier. I think I've got enough hard stuff going on here that I don't need to make my brain melt any more than I'm already going to. So, here we go. How do I feel about the legs? I actually think they're sticking out a little bit too much. So I'm gonna go pull them back in just a little. And then I think the feet are actually a little bit big, which feels weird to say because they are pretty tiny. But no, I do think that they are a little bit big based on the perspective of the leg. And I think that'll kind of pull her legs down a little bit more. And so that should help. I kind of admit, I'm not really looking forward to getting to the phase where everything is kind of mostly okay, and then it's just a matter of figuring out that last little bit of composition to do the things that I want to do. I'm a little terrified. I'm sure I can make it work, but it's still very scary. Alright, arms time. So I remember that I was struggling a little bit with the arms last time. Because I was trying to, if we look at doodles here, when you do that kind of pose, actually, I guess it's more obvious on her model. The arm goes down and then back up. And this is actually almost vertical. So this is kind of hard to show when you're looking almost directly above. Because when you're looking at something almost directly above it, this part going down is going to just look like a straight line. But I want to show that the arm is going down a little bit. But fortunately, you know, I just did that with the legs. So I think I'm going to grab my hot pink and start over on the arms, actually. And I'm just going to pay a little bit more attention to general structure. So, what I want to do is I want to make sure that the arm is getting a little bit narrower as it goes down. Just a little bit. And then I think I want the forearm, the part that's going to connect into the hand, to be almost like a square. We're going to see just a little bit of it, and it's just going to connect directly in. We'll see if I can pull that off. Okay, so this is going to be the top. Thinking about how I want that to connect, because I think this hand is in a good spot. And I'm thinking about how the hand is going to be turning. I need to think about that for a second. Let's see. So... Okay. With the way the bat is going, this tells me, because the bat does need to be held this way, so it goes over her shoulder. So this means that the thumb will be wrapping around it this way. This means that we see the palm almost flat on top of it. Do I have her hand going the right way? I am very prone to drawing the hand backwards. So I like to really think about this. So we're gonna have the hand pretty much sitting flat on top. I apologize for my silence here. It's just... I gotta kind of picture that in 3D space for a moment. So we got the arm going down, then coming back up. And it'll look like that. And then how is the hand tilted? Okay, so this will be kind of be going down very sharply. So we'll have something like this, but I think this looks right. You know, assuming that this part of the hand, I'll just erase part of it, is a thumb kind of wrapping around it. I don't want to get the whole thing right now. I'm not going to spend time on that. But this does help me picture it a little bit. Okay. No, I think this looks good. And then this will be kind of where the elbow is, and where it will connect to the other part of the arm. And this part will kind of be like right underneath. It'll get narrow. And then we'll have the other part there. I need to hide the bat now. So that this way I can connect the rest of the arm. This might be getting a little bit too narrow at the end there. But I think this kind of shape is okay. Yeah, I just need to make sure that the elbow is connecting in over here. Okay, yeah, I can get behind this. We'll make it a little fatter up at the top there. Make sure it really connects into the arm. And I think that arm looks like it's going down and then back up. Despite being, like, nearly flat there. So I think this works. And I guess I can actually use the skin tone now. The reason I used hot pink is because my initial draft had it over on top of her leg. And that would have been hard for the stage that I was at. So it just made sense to use hot pink. I'll leave the hand hot pink because that part is over the leg here. Okay, so now I just kind of got to get everything proportionate. Let's hide the hand for a second. It's okay. This is the first step. It's a big step too. So this is kind of where the wrist is going to connect and everything, and I can kind of put the top of this where I think it is. So it's kind of like that, and that's roughly where the wrist is. So now I can just let it come forward the way I want it to. And then get the shape of the other part of her arm, maybe a little bit less fat looking. That sounds pretty good. She must be strong, but this doesn't look strong. This looks like I have not been working out for months, and now my arm is flabby. So, you know, that's no good. She must be strong, not flabby. So I'm just thinking about how to fix that. And I think part of it is I make this part of the perspective a little bit less extreme. Then I move this part out a little bit. And I make it bigger. So this means I'll have to make her hand bigger, but I think that's okay. Okay, I can get behind that. And indeed, it does look like I had to make the hand a little bigger. But that's okay. Ooh. Yeah, this is working for me. Okay. Then we put the bat back on, and it'll all come together like that eventually. And I'll worry about the arm overlapping the bat and all that stuff later. It's not really important right now. Okay. But that seems okay, I think. Let's put the sleeve back on. How am I gonna do the sleeve anyway? Okay, I know exactly what to do, actually. Had to think about it for a second, but you can see that the sleeves, I'm not gonna draw the cute little green cuffs yet. I just want to get the general shape first. Highly focused on the general structure here, because if I don't do that, I am going to die. The details, not important right now. I do not wish to die. So we're gonna have the cuff coming around like this. It's gonna kind of wrap around the base of the elbow there. I'm just thinking about how I want to do it. Because I don't... It goes to the elbow. So I don't think it makes sense to put it on this part. It makes... let me pick a lighter color just so it contrasts a little better. But I don't think it makes sense to do that. I want it to be over here. Wrapping around this way. At the base of the elbow here. Okay. So I am trying to figure out how to properly connect all these pieces here. But there we go. I think that's it. I just had to think about it real quick. So, how does the sleeve react to everything? It's gonna come around here. Wrap around. Come up here, where it will attach to the rest of her body. And there's going to be a part that's going around the elbow here. I'll just leave the black part in for now, that's fine. And then there's going to be lots and lots of little folds from where it's bunching up around the elbow here. So it is bunching up a lot around the elbow. Okay, so that doesn't look good though. I don't really want it to be turning up. Right now I kind of feel like it is. So I'm gonna try again. Oh, I've been drawing on the wrong layer. Shoot. That's unfortunate. Oh dear. Hopefully I can back up. Oh, I can't. Oh, that sucks. Life is hard. Okay, well... I'll try to fix it. Oh, I hate it when I do that. Oh, that's deeply unfortunate. Oh well. Let me get the bat out of there, and then I just gotta put it all back together again. And now I'm a little sad. Such is life. Let's see here. So it connects there. Where does the elbow come out again? Now I have to find all this again. I was not paying enough attention. Okay. There we go. Okay. I'm still not wholly convinced I have the elbow coming out of her arm correctly, though. So I'm gonna look at that just a little bit harder here. And I will see where it all kind of fits together a little bit better here. I'm probably going to have to turn the hand a bit here. I'll have to think about how the hand connects to the wrist, but, one thing at a time. That's a good way to put it. Arms are hard. Especially when you want them to do weird things. Okay, but I think that looks all right. So now I can go back to the proper layer and think about how this sleeve. Yeah, you know what? I think I was thinking about it slightly wrong because it's being pushed up. If it was not being pushed up, it would go to roughly where the elbow is. So that would be like right over here. It would do something like this, and it would go around like this. So this tells me that there's probably this little backside right there. But because that this is being pushed up, we get rid of this part here and through here. And it comes up here. And just gets kind of folded over. I can't do that with this color. I gotta do it with the... Please lock, thank you. Okay, I gotta do it with the brown. So that part will go up there. It'll wrap around kind of like this. This part will be black. And now I have to think again. Okay. Today I'm a little bit more rambly than usual because I am definitely pushing my limits here. But I think I am finding my way through, so I'm pretty happy. Okay, and then it'll bunch up a lot there. I'll just use some nice little triangles for that. I find triangles to be highly effective for these things. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty alright. It's maybe a little bit uniform right now, but I think it's okay for it to be a little bit messy and imprecise for the moment. And from there, let's just kind of color in some of the rest and maybe put in a few more folds to show how this is moving in my mind here. I think that the folds in the sleeve are actually more important here than usual. And right now I don't think I have any of them doing the right thing, so let's try that again. I think it makes sense for this to be coming there. But the thing is that right now I kind of feel like it looks like this part of the arm is moving towards us. And that is not the case. It's moving away from us. So let me adjust the shape of this. Maybe I didn't get that quite right. Let's try that again. Maybe it should be a little bit smaller around here. No, I have no idea how this works. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go do something else for a little bit and come back to that. I think this upper part is looking okay. At the very least, I think I have the arm itself okay. So, let's go do the next arm. So this time I decided it's gonna be holding that little stink bomb. Because one of my initial designs had it kind of coming down and resting on the leg here. But having to combine the very close perspective of the arm here with the very far perspective of it being on the leg, I think might end up looking really odd. Because I would have to do that so hard. It would end up not looking relaxed. Because, I mean, when you're doing this, you want it to look relaxed, right? It's just resting on the leg with the hand kind of coming down and resting off the side here, like that. And that's the kind of pose that you want for this. But because the knee is, like, right underneath the shoulder, I would basically have to make it go straight down. And I just don't think it's workable. It would literally have to be something like this, and that just looks ridiculous. I don't like it. So, I'm going to keep her arm upward. And we're just going to have her be holding the stink bomb. So this time, it's the upper arm that's going, like, straight down. So that will be the one that I put in a shadow. So I'll get something like this. It's still going to be pretty extreme, but at least her arm is out. At least it's kind of moving away from her. So I can do something like that, and then just have the arm go across here. And I don't have to make it quite so tiny. I'm not quite sure I'm going to handle the upper arm yet. I'll figure that out in a second. But at least for now, we can get something like this. We'll have the arm, the hand, a little bit smaller than the other one. It'll just do something like this, and then the fingers will do something like this. I'll just sketch in some basic stuff here. We'll get some claws, and she'll be holding a thing here, and there we go. That is sufficient for now. Okay, let's get the bomb in there. I'll use its real color for now, but I get the feeling that I will be changing it to something else later. It'll probably be solid white. And because I like making my life as hard as possible, I'll go ahead and let it be coming right towards us. And we'll get this kind of thing. Does that read, or should I turn it? I can probably get away with turning it. Let me do both. Let me see which one looks better. There we go. Something like that with a... Okay, yeah. I think it reads better out the side like that. So there we go. I'll do something like that. I think I want it to be a little bit bigger because this hand is going to be somewhere in between here at her head and the leg. So it's going to be somewhere kind of between that. And I think that kind of angle suits it well. Yeah, I'm just going to go back to use the skin tone. We'll still use pink for the hand. Just to keep it nice and separated in my mind. Sounds good to me. Phew. Phew. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking about things real quick. So, what I need to do, I might... Well, first I'm gonna stretch, because oh man, do I need that. Okay, there we go. Much better. It's amazing how tense my arms can get when I'm just screaming internally. Okay. So, what I want to sell with this arm, it's kind of the opposite of this one. Where I'll go ahead and use this doodle for the other one too. Where this one is just kind of coming down and then out like this. And then we have a hand, and she's tossing the thing. So I don't think I have to have it going like straight down. I can let it come out a little bit. And that might make it a little easier to draw. So I'm going to go ahead and hide my hand and the bomb there, and I'm going to focus just on the arm part. And fortunately, you know, with the hand not there, I actually do think that this arm is doing exactly what I want it to do. So, yay. I think we're good. So I just got to think about this other one. Okay, I don't like the forearm at all right now. Actually, I don't like any of it right now. So I'm just going to try again. So I do want it to be coming slightly down. We see the top of it right here on the top of her shoulder. And then we got the armpit, and I want it to get narrower as it goes down, but not like hugely. So you know what? I'm not going to worry about the side plane here. I'm just going to worry about what the top plane is doing right now. And I'll add the side plane afterward. Okay, so it's coming out. It's getting a little bit narrower. You know, this makes me glad that for my A-side drawing, the other one that I'm doing, the one of Katya Sable, that I'm just doing a nice, simple, we're looking at her from straight... You can only do so much perspective in a week before your brain explodes. Okay. Yeah, I think I want it to come out a little bit more, so I'm actually going to adjust the angle that things are coming out here. This part is going down, and I do think it's starting to look like that. Okay, and then this part should come very far down. And then I just fill it in, and it should be fine. And right now she's got that really fat-looking arm thing going, so I will have to fix that. You know what? I'm just going to make this plain the light color for now, until I get a better handle for what's going on. Okay. Yeah, I can work with this. Okay, and I think I'm gonna actually have to scoot her over. Because I need a little bit more space up there. There we go. This part comes out. It stays a pretty consistent width because it is not coming closer towards us or further away. So I can just keep it a nice solid width. Get something nice and relatively easy for once. And I will put in things like a wrist and stuff like that after. Right now, I'm just going to get the gist in. Okay, and I think that looks pretty all right. Okay, yeah, I think that's doing what I want. We'll put the hand back on. And then I can go back to thinking about the sleeves. I'm still a bit terrified. More than a bit, if I'm being honest. But, you know, it's okay. I got this. It's fairly small relative to the size of her hand, right? No, actually. It's about the size of her hand. Okay. Yeah, so far so good. I think it's coming. I think it's coming along. God, this is going to be hell to refine, though. It's okay. BB kind of was too, but I got through that, so I think I can do this one. I'm kind of glad that the next three are going to be simpler, though. All right. Sleeves. I'm not quite sure if this part of the arm is right, though, because it does look kinda big. Okay, let's go refine that just a little bit more before I try to put a sleeve on this. I don't really want to use the sleeves to cover up things, because I think that would hurt me more than help me in the long run. There are times when I use stuff to cover up things I don't want to draw. I do it with hair and ears all the time. I hate drawing ears. But here, I just feel like if I use it to kind of cheese the perspective without understanding what it is that I'm doing, nothing is going to look right. So I'm a little bit nervous about doing that. But at least for this one, I think the sleeve is going to be easier because this time it is going down. It is going to bunch up around there a little bit, but not like a ton, I don't think. But let me just, yeah, let's do the default with no bunching first. Just to get something that I can understand a little bit better. So it's going to go across like this, and then we get the black part. And then where I see it bunching up is going to come up here, like this. And I just like to add little triangle shapes for that kind of thing. This is currently not doing it, though. I wonder why. Normally this works. So there's something weird about... What do sleeves look like when they bunch up? You know, maybe I should just go look it up. Let's go find a reference for me. Yes, so I'm just gonna look for sleeve bent elbow. Okay, not giving me what I want here. It's giving me long sleeves. Short sleeve bent elbow. None of these are quite long enough to show what I want to show. Let's see, how are they bunching up on this picture? Maybe this one will help me. So I can see where the folds are going here if I just do a quick analysis of what is going on here. So we can see that her arm is coming up, and so that's pulling the cloth on the sleeve upward. So we get these kinds of folds. And I see that there's a little bump there, and that's kind of what I was trying to do here. And you can see that they're bunching up down here. And that kind of thing I can understand pretty easily. Unfortunately, I think this would be the most interesting part for me to see, but it is covered up by her arm. Okay. Is there anything on the model here? Okay, so she added an extra fold over here. I'm assuming that this is based on the rigged version. So, and I know that Nitya rigged her own model, which I think is awesome. The rigging is quite good. She's very skilled. Okay, and I'm going to be able to cover up part of it with an armband. But nonetheless, I do feel like I need a little bit of showing that it's going to be pulled. Maybe I should put in the cuff here. Maybe that'll help. I'm I'm thinking about what we see here, and I really don't think that this will go up very much. I think it probably goes up a little bit, but not that much. So I'll put just a little bit of perspective on this, so that this way it maybe has the slight impression that it's coming towards us. And then I can fold it out a little bit. Just put a few little triangles in there. And a few little folds. So that this way it looks like the elbow is pushing it away. Okay. Okay, no, I think this is working. Okay, nice. I do plan to put an outline around all this eventually, so I'll go ahead and just kind of do some of that now, if it'll help me. Yeah. Okay, that does look a little bit better, and then I can have a couple of other little folds kind of coming out where they are connected there. And I think that looks okay, it overlapping the baseball bat aside. Okay. So for this one, this part will not have the sleeve being super bunched up. It'll just kind of drape onto her elbow, I think. Needs to be a little further back, though. Okay, so it'll come out like this. This part will come down quite a lot. Just perspective. Perspective shenanigans. I want to make sure it's wrapping around her arm. Okay. Okay. There we go. You know, man, I am already getting a little pooped here. Oh, man. Art is hard. It's okay. It's worth. It's just very hard. Okay, get a little bit of folds like that. This should come a little bit further back, but there should be a little fold here, and it'll come up like that. And there'll probably have to be some more around the shoulder, but I think just due to the way I have it drawn, we're not really gonna see them. I'll go ahead and try to put some fold shapes up there, and how I think that they will go. And then there'll be some around the armpit here. It'll be the same over here, but a few around the armpit here. But I don't think it's going to be very strong or anything, and I guess that's fine. I think that looks like a sleeve. It's a little boxy for the moment, but that's okay. Everything's going to be a little boxed in the end anyway, because I'm not going to use any curved lines. It is a deliberate choice for the style of this series that I'm doing. Let's see, I think this arm feels a little bit small. I'm going to extend it out a little bit. She must be strong. Yes. I will have strong Nitya. No noodle arms allowed. Okay. So sleeve. I'm going to kind of try to perfect the folds here a little bit more. Not quite happy with it. Okay, I guess that's probably fine. I'll see how I feel about that next time, because... Or maybe in 5 minutes. Because, man, having the arms having to go up and down while, we're looking at her from above. This is actually way harder than I thought it would be. And I thought this pose would be really hard already. I knew that I'd kind of be giving it everything I got here. Okay, sock. And a lot of these colors are gonna be kind of... I'm gonna change them to look like each other. This is too many colors for this particular style, I think. I would like to have less. So a lot of these colors are gonna change. I'm just kind of getting everything down. Let's turn her pigtails back on, actually. Oh, and that even covers up like the worst of the shoulders for me. Oh, well, that's lovely. Okay. So I may not have to try quite so hard. I don't want to rely on them, though. But I think this looks okay for now. Her head might be a little big. I still haven't quite decided. Alright, and then she has these red belts going along her leg. But they're up near the top. And I think that the top is actually back here. So I don't think we really see them. Okay. And then the skirt, I think, is going to end up even shorter, to the point that I'm not really even sure if it shows. I'll put a little bit of it down here. I'll put just a little bit down there. But otherwise, I think it's going to be pretty firmly underneath her at this point. I guess I'll put a little more over here just so she hopefully doesn't look indecent. Please don't bonk me, YouTube. I swear, I'm wholesome. Anyway, I guess something like that is probably fine. Looks like it's being stretched out across her legs well enough. Okay, let's zoom out and get a general picture. How am I doing? I don't know if I'm feeling it. Yeah, I don't know if I am. This is one of those cases where I very much wanted to try something. And it's definitely not the worst thing I've drawn, but I'm just not sure if it looks very good. And I don't think a lot of the stuff I've drawn is necessarily wrong. Just like I said, I'm not sure if it looks very good. Always a little bit of a sad state to be in, of having worked on something for a while. I'll go ahead. I'll do a little bit to try to fix my problems here. And let's see, I think I'm gonna push this sleeve in just a little. Make her elbow look a little bit less broad, I guess. And I'll do the same for this side. Right now, I guess her shoulders and arm look a little bit broad. And then from there, I'm gonna kind of get the basics of the rest of her character design down. And then what I think I'm gonna do is, I think this is gonna be another one that I kind of sleep on, and if I don't think it looks very good next time, I might just try a different pose. Maybe something with less weird perspective. It's like, I do want to learn this. But I don't think that all compositions necessarily look very good. So I just gotta find a way to kind of bring out the delinquent cuteness in all of this. And I'm just not sure that this is really doing it. Yeah, that doesn't quite look good either. So I'll get the tail in there. I'll just kind of let it stick out the back. I'll go ahead and put some of the little spikes on it. Yeah, we'll plop those on just to make it clear what is happening. And, you know, we'll see if I can actually get this together, but if I cannot, I might end up restarting it next time. And maybe next time I'll just do it a little bit more from the front or something. I'll have to think about it. Okay, so there we go. I kind of got the basics of the tail in there. So let's get this part of the skirt in. And I want to make the squat very clear. So I'm actually, I do need to put it on top of the legs. And the belts for that matter. And the skirt for that matter. Okay. But I think what I want to do with it is I want it to kind of be going over the leg like this. And kind of off the back like that. So this, it will not completely wrap around. It's just gonna be over and then go over there. Okay. Alright, and I do feel like the head is maybe still just a little bit big. So I'll shrink it down just a little bit. I mean, the head has to be quite big if I'm going to sell the perspective here. Actually, that did help a bit, so, you know, maybe it's not looking that bad. This is why I say, before I make such a decision to completely change what my initial plan here, I want to sleep on it for a few days. Because, you know, I think this idea is cute. I think as an idea, it's quite cute. So if I can make it work, I think that'll be great. And I'd like to try to make it work. Starting over is the nuclear option. And it should be taken with great care. And not willy-nilly, just because maybe I'm a little frustrated with what I'm doing here. No. I think that distance is right. I just keep wanting to push the arm in a little, and I'm not quite sure why. Because I don't think it's super wrong or anything. But something doesn't feel quite right, is all. Okay, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it's not that bad. Let's get some of these other colors right. Because I don't need this to help me with perspective anymore. So I'd like to get it to be the proper color that it's going to be when the time comes. Oh yeah, that's right. Those parts at the bottom should be black, though. And I guess I can start getting some of the other colors correct. And start getting some of my other ideas down like that. Just so that this way I can really see what it will look like. Okay, we'll get the head shadows back on. I'll fill all that in. And I am considering changing the mouth a little bit. Just because there is, you know, kind of a delinquent scream. Where they, you know, they open the mouth kind of, I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Let's see here. Let me see if I can draw it. It has... I'm not sure if it suits her, because I want her to be a little bit cuter. And this kind of snarl is not exactly super cute, so to speak. But I think I might be able to make it kind of cute. Kind of like that. Ah, nah. The big smile's way cuter. Okay, we're going with the big smile. It's okay, I'm glad I tried. Alright, let's get some shadows on the sleeve. We'll get some of these shadows from the hair. I don't want to go too hard on it because I don't know if I'm going to be changing the shape of the hair. This is probably roughly what it's going to be. But, you know, I don't want to spend too much time when I don't quite know how things are going to shake out yet. Oh, this is actually shaped differently than I expected. Okay, let's, I'm going to invert the color on this hair. So I think at this point, if I do decide to draw this idea, this is roughly what it's going to look like. All of the general things are in there, and I think that they're all looking pretty okay. I do think that this is probably about as proportionate as it's going to get. I do need to draw the shape that I want her to be standing on still. I'll just go ahead and do all of it on the head shadows layer. Get some shadows in from the hair and whatnot. And then I'm going to start picking colors. Because the way I normally do this is I start by picking colors from the character, but just due to the nature of what I'm drawing here, I always like to make the colors a little bit more saturated, a little bit hotter. Okay, before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and draw the shape she's gonna be standing on. And I want to get the shape of that cute little crocodile on her ending screen. That was my initial thought. I've also considered the Kamina glasses on the duck as something for her to stand on. I guess that one's easier to draw, so I'll try that one first. So we'll have... No, they're definitely slanted. So it'd be kind of like this. Although at this rate, it's just going to look like a shadow underneath her. No, I think I like the crocodile idea way better. So let me go find that. Oh, I don't actually have a reference of her. Oh, no, I do. Okay. All right. The fun part of looking up VTuber references is that I often just get funny little pieces of fan art, and they make me laugh. Let's see. Oh man, I'm actually gonna have to go hunting. Okay. It is not on Google Images. Very rude. So we might hear a little bit of sound since I'm gonna have to go to her channel. Give me just a moment. All right. Oh, please pause. There we go. I don't want to be stealing her sounds here. So let me go ahead and mute that. So this way I don't have to worry. Okay, there we go. Oh man, she didn't play for very long. At the end of the random one I clicked on. Okay, but there we go. I see him. It's just so cute. It's this little blocky, a little blocky crocodile, and I just think it's super adorable. Okay. I don't plan for it to be in black, but I'm just gonna draw it in black for now. So I think I want the little crocodile snout to be over here. And we'll get the little bump. And then underneath, I'm going to have its head. It's going to be like curled up into a little ball. Just so I can get the whole thing in there. Okay, it's going to have one little foot out here. Another little foot over here. And then the tail. It's going to wrap around. And do something like this. I'm admittedly not sure if it's clear what's going on there, but, you know, that's okay. I don't mind if it just looks like a shadow. Although, who knows what this foot is, if I make it look too much like a shadow. So that's actually probably not a good thing. Yeah. So I should make it clear it is not a shadow. I have immediately changed my mind. I have immediately seen the consequences of my actions. So, let's get some of those cute little shapes in, and then I will add a color underneath here. I think I'll use the bright green from her tail for now. And I'll probably have to add a couple more. Although I'm not sure if this is gonna work. Maybe I should just go with a shadow. Maybe I should... Because for all the other ones, I had them kind of coming out of a shape. But she's different, and all the other ones, I just did like the waist up, and yeah, because that's not working. Yeah, I just gotta make it look like a shadow, I think. Yeah, the other ones I did it from the waist up, so I just didn't really have to worry about it. So every time that they were coming out of a shape, and it made sense because, like, half their bodies were cut off. So it looked like half their body was in the shape and half their body was coming out of it. And that looked very good. But here, her feet are in the picture. So we have the whole body. So it doesn't really make sense for her to be coming out of shape like the others. I'm a little sad. Oh, well, this looks fine. And I think it's actually okay that her legs kind of disappear. So, you know, I just gotta go with that. This feels like a lot of black, though. Alright, well, let's try to do a little bit of color correction, and maybe that will help some things. And I can revisit things as I need to. So I'm gonna just amp up the saturation in her eyes there. Okay, I'm gonna put the pupils on a different layer. I just had them there because I had to check some stuff for the gaze. But I don't need that anymore, so I can draw them on a new layer. Okay, there we go. So now the eyes are a little bit brighter. I want to get the eye white under there. Yes. I know what I'm doing. I promise. It doesn't always look like it. Sometimes I do a great job of, making it seem like I don't, but I promise I know what I'm doing. Okay. Get those eye whites in there, and they will be pure white. And they will be shadowed, but you know, this is fine for now. Actually, I kind of dig it, so maybe they won't be shadowed, who knows? We'll see what happens. I am very spontaneous with how I draw things, so it all generally works out in the end. Alright, let's make this hair nice and neon. Because everything must be bright. I think the skin tone is fine as is. So I don't think I'll change that. There we go. Kind of color in some of these things. I'm not actually sure if I can make this collar the same color as the hair here. A lot of the time when I do this, I try to use as few colors as possible, so I'd go out of my way to try to use the same green here, but I'm not actually sure if it's a good idea. Let's try it and see what happens. My instinct says it's a bad idea, though. I don't like the swampy green there right now. It makes sense, but I'm not sure if I want it to be the same super bright green. Like, I think that perhaps it does need to be a little bit swampy. Because I'm looking at the tail here, for example, and I think having two greens will be very useful. So I can use the bright green for the tail itself, and then just, you know, put some shadows around where the hair would be. And that should work fine. And then for the spikes, I can use the swampier green. And that'll look fine once I put black lines around it. I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. And then for the overskirt here, that will also be swampy green. And her shoes and socks will also be swampy green. And I don't mind making the shoes and socks the same color. I think it's fine for what they are. Where are the feet? There we are. Okay. This I think I'm just going to make white. So where's my little bomb here? You will just be white. And the black of that is fine. I think I can make the hand over here skin tone at least. Okay, and that'll look fine once I get lines and stuff around everything. And I really should make you skin tone now, and then I can go back to the legs and add in some of the shadow. Okay, you know, now that I'm getting the colors in, this doesn't actually look as bad. I'm feeling better about it. Yeah, there was definitely a time where I'm just like, oh god, I think I might have to scrap this. But no. I think it's okay. I think it's doing what I want to do. Trying to look intimidating while she is just so much shorter than everyone else. I think it's adorable. You know, I do think it is kind of working for me. Pick a nice bright red there. Feels a bit weird considering the bright green of her hair, but I think this is okay. No, it's really not. I do need it to be brighter than that, but I think I'm just going to make it darker in order to make it feel brighter. Yeah, that's a much better color. Okay. And then I'll use that for the ribbon on her chest. And the belts. And it's kind of fine if I color over things right now. It's not a big deal. Okay. I'm not quite sure what I want to do for the shirt. I feel like the brown is still a little bit too muted. So you know what? Let's just bring up my hue saturation and derp around with it and see what happens. I don't know. What color do I make you? You know, that's not bad. I just brought it a little bit more toward purple, I think. And I think that color is pretty okay. So I'm gonna transfer that over to the sleeves, too. Where did I put my sleeves? There they are. Oh yeah, and then of course the cuff of the sleeve needs to be a swampy green. Okay. So, am I going to be able to make this look good? You know what? I think so. I think I can do it. I think I can work with this. Oh, whoops. I meant to get the head, not, it's a little bit big. And this is one where, God, I am just gonna need to sleep on these proportions, because this is ridiculous. I'm gonna go hide my doodles. And I'm gonna start shaping her for the screen. So, basically all that means is, hey, look, I have the general gist of the drawing here. So I'm gonna think about the proportion of the baseball. I think that's coming out about as much as I want it to. So we have the arm here, we got this here. So what I need to do is just, I want her to be about as big as possible. I want her to be a little bit, it doesn't matter how centered she is actually. Basically this image is going to be transparent. The gray background is just going to become transparency. So I don't mind if things brush up against the edge a little uncomfortably. I'm going to leave myself a little bit of room just so... like, especially down here, because I feel like these things might get a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. But otherwise, there we go. I think she's sized okay. And now, I want to think a little bit about overall composition. So, everything to now was very much focused on the pose, general proportions, and getting just, you know, the basics down. But now, I need to get them all basically right. For a lot of these, this has started where I started tilting things and whatnot, so I kind of had this kind of thing going where a lot of them were tilted and whatnot. But I am actually kind of thinking that I want this one to feel very stable. I want the squat to feel very stable. And I'm not sure if it's appropriate to be tilting her around with that kind of thing. I'll still try it. Just because, you know, tilted... No, I shouldn't say it like that. If you have a diagonal line of action, it tends to feel more dynamic. If you have a more horizontal line of action, it tends to feel very stable. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. How dynamic do I want this to feel? But no, I do think that this is just one that's extremely stable. This maybe feels a little bit too symmetrical. That's the other thing that I'm a little bit worried about. So that's where I'm wondering, maybe I want a little bit of a tilt. Make it feel just a little bit less stable. And if I did it like that, I think I'd bring this leg a little further forward. Make it so she has like a little step going on. Yeah, that seems like a good idea, actually. I talked myself into it. You know, thank you once again for being my precious rubber ducky. All you lurkers. I appreciate it. Just existing and making me talk about things is enough for me to have many a revelation, so there you go. It solves so many of my problems, so as always, thank you for existing. You're fantastic. So we'll let her step forward just a little bit here. And I will get some of the shadow underneath there. And if I'm going to have that stepping forward, maybe I want the other one to step back just a little. Yeah, I think so. I think that's pretty all right. Man, she really does look like she's gonna get you. I like it. Managing to be slightly intimidating, even though she is so tiny. And, doing a silly delinquent squat while looking up at you. Okay, let's see here. Hand. I'm really gonna have to think about how the wrist is working, because what I think I need to do is... I need to get it a little bit narrower before it goes down. And that's all very complicated. God, I'm gonna have so much to refine. This is gonna be hell. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. Look, I've said many a times, the best art is built from suffering. Don't worry about it. It'll be fantastic. But no, you know what? I think I made it work. I'm glad I didn't give up so easily. Sometimes it's easy to get down, but no, I think this is okay. I think I can make this work. I do. And then it'll be especially fun once I get like all the spikes on the bat, and I'll probably add some of those red parts and whatnot. I guess I can start getting the colors and stuff going. Let's really get this all balanced. Because with this particular style, balancing the shadows, because, you know, everything is really black right now, and some things are kind of blending in with each other, and I'm not sure if it's working. So balancing out all those colors is really important. So let's do that. Let's balance out some of those colors. So there's a black part around the grip of it here, and then there's a red part kind of sitting on top here. It looks like there's some gold on that, but I might just use white instead, because there's no gold anywhere else. Oh, that's not entirely true. We got some... a little bit there. Well, we'll see. I'll decide that later. Okay, so then we got the little heart up at the top here. She will murder you sweetly, and it'll be wonderful. There we go. Little bit of blood coming off. Okay. I'm not going to put any blood on the bat. That doesn't seem quite appropriate for our sweet little croc, who's probably only just pretending to threaten you because it's funny. So, let's see. So we'll get that kind of thing, and then probably some doing stuff like this in various places. I want a nice deep shadow on the other side of the head there. So, you know, something like that. That's probably sufficient for now. And I'll, you know, add some lines and stuff to bring out some of these things later, but I think this gives me enough information for how it's going to look for now. What's the bomb look like? Yeah, this is probably sufficient for that for now. I should definitely not be drawing on the bat layer when I'm trying to add stuff to the bomb. That's a terrible idea. We do not need to be drawing on the wrong layer here. No, thank you. So I'll just add a little tie. I'll make it just a little bit cuter, make it a little bit more ribbony. Hand is looking as good as it needs to for the stage that I'm at, and... I don't know, is there anything else that I really gotta figure out? Because I actually feel like the color balance feels okay right now. I'm just staring at it real quick while I try to understand what it is that I want to do. But no, you know, everything just kind of suddenly came together, and I'm not sure how that happened. I don't. How odd. Anyway. I'm too scared to start cleaning up today. That I want to check the proportions. I do. So let's see, is there anything else that I really feel like I can do? I guess I can start trying to figure out the details on the shoes. There's not going to be much going on there, so that's not going to take very long, but it is something I should do eventually. So let's see here. I think most of the decorations are going to be kind of covered up by the socks here. I do think we see a little bit of a sliver of this front part there, so I'll put a little bit of those designs in there, but it's just going to be like a sliver. And then I think maybe we see just a tiny bit of that there, and I guess I can shape this a little bit more nicely now. We'll just go ahead and get the absolute basics of the feet in. Absolute basics. I don't even think we see the whole thing on those little tiny spikes there. So it really is just going to be like the tiniest of all slivers here. But I think that's probably good. So there we go. She's got a little tiny baby feet. It's adorable. And I think that the legs are looking good. I'm not sure if it's immediately obvious what she's doing. I think it's clear that she's squatting, but I'm not sure if it's clear that it is the delinquent squat. I'm not sure how to make that more clear at this angle, though. I guess I can think about it for a real bit. Okay. I've got some time. So, bringing back the doodles. Delinquent squat. Her back is kind of there, the knees come up, and then they go down. And when I looked at the references, I kind of had the feet going in here, but I think they're actually a little bit more straight. I'm going to go ahead and draw that. I think that they're actually a little bit more shoulder width, and they go more straight down, like this. This is pretty consistent in how I see it drawn. So I'm not quite sure how to give a little bit more of that impression while we're looking at it from above. I do feel like the knees are coming up. I think that's working. I'll probably put a little bit of red and a highlight on them to do that a little bit better. That makes sense for knees, so I think I can roll with that. But is there anything else I can do to make it a little bit more clear? I'm a little bit sad I couldn't get the arm resting on the knee to work very well, but I think her holding the little stink bomb there is fine. I assume that's what that is. I think it still works. She still looks like she's gonna get you. It's all good. But yeah, color balance is honestly looking really good. The really bright colors in her hair is really bringing her forward, and I dig it. So, you know, fixing the colors helped a lot too. Go figure, colors are important. Let's see, I don't have her little red armband in there. I should get that. Where are the sleeves? Let's do that. I think a lot of it is just going to end up in shadow, but, you know, that's all right. I can't see anything. Let's go ahead and turn that off, so this way I can have it wrap around the arm a little bit more correctly here. I'm not going to worry about the text or anything on it. It does look like there's some kanji. I will have to figure that out later. And I'm going to go ahead and let this curve really, really hard, because it'll help show the perspective on the arm. There we go. Something like that should work. And I'll go ahead and get the shadows on it, because I do want there to be some shadows from the hair. Okay. Gloves. I should draw those. So the gloves are going to be just solid black. And I guess just other small decorations. This part of her skirt and the belts from this overskirt thing, not going to show. They're kind of underneath her. So they're going to be wrapping around her hips, which is somewhere back here. So those won't show. But I do think that... What was I looking at? Yeah, some of these things here, the little patterns on that, I can get some of those. And, of course, gloves. I should just draw the gloves real quick. I think I'll just paint them directly on the hand and I'll... No, I can't paint them directly in black. They're the same color as this, and I did not make those black. So let's see, her fingers are wrapping around it, so I think that would make this go to about here. And this is part of her thumb. So it'll look something like that, and this will actually help me show the fingers wrapping around things. That's very nice. I could actually probably just make them solid black. And that would eliminate the need for a shadow on the leg. I'm gonna try that. I want to see what that looks like. Where the hell are her legs? There they are. Okay. That actually looks quite good. I think I'm gonna go with this. Okay, and then there'll be a little bit of glove coming off onto this part of her arm, but I think I'm gonna draw that later. That's not gonna help me with balancing colors. What will help me with balancing colors is putting shadows around the stink bomb. So I'm gonna do that. I think most of the glove I just drew is gonna end up in shadow, unfortunately, so they're just gonna end up black anyway. No, it's fine. It's all good. Where's my bomb? Here we are. I would actually like the bottom of this to be black, I think. Maybe not. What does it look like? Okay, no, this is fine. We'll put some black on the little tied part, though. Okay, yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's get some of the decoration on the sleeves and stuff. The sleeves are small enough that I think I'm honestly just going to draw it on the same layer. We'll see if I regret my life choices next time. And I'm going to use the very bright green from her hair rather than picking another color. I don't want more colors than this. This is plenty of colors. And I'm not going to attempt to draw the words here. Actually, I don't think we even see them. Yeah, because they're only on the front side, and we see the back side. So we might see just a little bit of words up here. I guess I'll put a white little smudge on those. But for now, I'd like to get the collar. So that's going to have some little green lines here. But the triangles are up here where we don't see anything, so I just have to draw the lines. And actually, I think those are not close enough to the edge. Let's try that again. That is just a result of the perspective. It's very shenanigans. Very scary. But there we go. That should be all right for that. Let's go ahead and fill in the leg now. It's been sitting there with a big old hole in it for a while. And... Humu. Yeah, I wanted to put a little bit of a white smear around this. And I guess I'll start getting lines around things too, actually. It'll give me a better idea of what things are going to look like. So where's the overskirt here? Actually, I'll start with the skirt. Because there should be a line here, and then some pleats. Okay, and then on this, line here, line around here. I don't want that to be in shadow, just because there's too much shadow around there already. And then... I don't know, there'll be a little white line going down like this. I think the rest of this line is going to be underneath her, so we just see that part, and that is fine. Okay, and from there, there's a little red mark on her glove that I should put in. Little squiggly line. Where's her hand? There it is. Which way does it go? Pointing away from her fingers. Okay. I think it's only... Okay. So it's like that. And that'll be neater later. It's fine. I am just going to put in some of these other decorations so I can check color balance and whatnot. At this point, I'm firmly in composition mode, so anything that has any kind of detail on it needs to have its details on. And I think I'm actually going to turn this white instead of silver. Just to have one less color on it. Does that look good? No, it looks better silver. Okay. But we'll leave it this color. I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter then. Alright, there we go. And then I just fix the black parts, it's fine. It's totally fine. Okay. And then I'm just gonna kind of scribble in where all the lines and stuff are gonna go, and there's gonna be more spikes on it. And it's all going to be very, very messy, and that's okay for this stage. I especially don't want to work very hard on the bat because I'm gonna be redrawing the whole thing with the line tool. But I just want to make sure that my balance of colors is good. So that's worth a little bit of effort, especially since I'm not gonna do any proper rendering or cleaning today. That just seems like a bad idea. That seems like a way to clean something up and then I look at it next time and I'm just like, oh, I have to redraw like half this stuff. Pain! And then I'll feel bad. But if it's still messy next time, I won't feel bad about redrawing anything. It'll be fine. So that's why I'm going hard on figuring out composition right now. I want to make sure that when I look at this next time, I'll be like, oh yeah, I know exactly what to fix. I know exactly what to do. And everything will be fine. And then I just do that and all is well. Okay. Okay, I missed a few lines on the bat, but otherwise we're looking good. And I'll have to do the same on the red part here. There we go. Are there any other details on her outfit that I plan to draw? I guess I can put the design on her sock real quick. You can see that I didn't really make them spiky for the moment, but I guess I can do a little bit of that too. So they're spiky and bigger on the outside. Spike. 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 And then we got a little line going through. Spike. 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 There we go. And then I guess we got those little spiky things coming out of the feet too. I guess I can draw those. I think we see a little bit of it just like right there. Yep, this is the time for the last of any small details I decide I want to include. The belt on the tail is definitely underneath her, so, you know, I get to spare myself from drawing random belts. That always feels good. Still don't understand why anime girls always have random belts everywhere. I Final Fantasy did a number on character design, and I don't think the industry has recovered from it. So we still just keep putting belts everywhere. I fear for what MiHoYo will be doing to anime character design. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll start dividing up the hair. Let's go get those pigtails. Let's go get them. Oh, no. I think I want this one to be the big one. Okay. And, you know, it's just gonna be whatever I want it to be. Whatever works. So that division looks fine to me. I think some of the lines are going to be a little bit thicker, but that's okay. This is a good place to start. Go ahead and start putting rough lines around them. At least where I need to. I'm going to hide my doodles again. There's too much black. And this will give me a better idea of how things look. Okay. Man, today really was an adventure, though. I'm actually kind of surprised I made it work. That's why I was dooming about it for a while, just being like, man, it doesn't look good. What do I do? Help. But it all pulled through in the end, so I'm happy. Let's get some lines going around, and then I'll kind of figure out what I want to do with the highlights and stuff. Right, I need one up here. We'll get some stuff going around some of these strands and stuff, too. Here we go. I don't trust myself with highlights, so I'm going to put them on another layer. And those will just be some solid white things going on. So just something like this, and I'll plop them onto the pigtails, too. Rebobbin. No, I'm not going to remove that typo. We're just going to leave it there. I guess I do have to put some lines around the rebobbin too. Alright, let's do that while I'm here. I have to do it down there too. Okay. Oh, I didn't have the layer locked. That's unfortunate. I hope it's okay. You know what? I'm not going to assume it's okay. I don't trust myself. Not in the slightest. So, here we go. Locking rebobbin layer. Let's continue. And, you know, it's still just gonna all be very messy, and that's fine. The making it not messy is a job for my future self. Present me doesn't have to worry about it at all. It's fantastic. I get to leave all the hard work for the me of next week. It's wonderful. Okay. Stretch. Let's see, I still have a little bit more black line to put around the pigtails, I see. So let's get those in. It'll be great. And from there... yeah, I guess I'll start getting the lines around some of those things. Here we go. Back to her torso. Over here, and then over here. We'll put black lines around all that stuff. And I guess I want some folds in her clothes. They're not going to be that strong, though. Just a little bit. And that should be good. I think the rest looks fine. So I think that's all the major shadows. What are you? What are you? No, seriously. What is this? I still have no idea. It's part of the tail, I guess. Okay. I guess that's fine. I'll just fill it in with black. There we go. Okay, and then, you know, the rest is just going to be some minor stuff, and I think this is ready to be cleaned. She still may be looking slightly bobblehead, but I don't think I can make the head any smaller without her shoulders looking wrong. So I don't know, maybe I should make her legs a little bigger. Let's find out. You know, just a little. I don't want to overdo it. Just a touch. Okay, let me see before and after there. You know what? I think I'm going to bring the bomb and the arm around there a little bit closer. And all that means is that I make it a little bit bigger. So that'll be the hand, the arms, and the bomb. So all I want to do is grab from about here. And then I'm just going to make it a little bigger. And that should make her head look a little bit less huge. It's a little bit weird. But in this case, bringing the hands a little closer, I think, well, we'll just make it more clear that this is further forward, and I think that'll be okay. In theory. This is exactly why I don't trust myself enough to render this today, because I look at this and I'm just like, how the hell did I do this? What happened? Is anything right? Am I delusional? Am I gonna look at this tomorrow morning and being like, whoa! Everything is wrong! Alright, I want to put some black around the eyes. The eye shape is gonna change. But I just want to get some stuff there so I can check compositional stuff. Okay. There we go. Yeah, and you can see him a little better now, so that's great. But no, I think this is working. I actually do. We'll see if I'm coping, but I think it's working. And so I think I can be pretty happy with this. And so with any luck, I can just kind of start rendering it. And actually, you know what? I think I want to make the eyes a little brighter. Can I not? Are you like as bright as you can get? No, I can make you more yellow. There we go. Okay. Look, when I draw like this, I need to amp the saturation up to 11. It makes everything just way more dramatic. And that's exactly what I want here. I just want maximum drama. So, it's perfect. It's perfect. That's what I want. So, okay. I made it work. Huzzah! Oh man. Oh man. Okay. So, I am gonna set the pen down for a little bit here, and I'm just gonna stare at it. And, you know, during that time, I've still got about 30 minutes here. So, I guess we can just do the Zatzadon without the extra step. and I can just talk about some things. So, today was much more stream of consciousness than usual. Well, I'm not sure if I can say that. I'm pretty stream of consciousness. But, man, it took, like, everything I had just to get some of those things down. That was wild, I gotta say. And I mean, I say that I don't have lines around the fingers, but I haven't drawn the fingers, so I'm not gonna do that yet. Anyway. Perspective is hard. It's really hard. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I can do a lot of basic stuff, but when I want to start getting weird and just see how far I can push things and just go for as much, you know, maximum drama, it gets pretty tricky. So, you know what, let's talk about perspective a little bit. In this case, I'm referring to it in the art sense, not the, I don't know, trying to get more, looking at things from a different point of view. Not that kind of perspective. Not trying to find your place in the universe kind of perspective. Just how you draw it. And at its core, all perspective really is that the things closer to you look closer and the things further away look further away. It's just getting that. And so when you want to get weird with perspective, the idea is to just stretch that. So just exaggerate it a lot. So the basic idea that I was going for here is that the things that are closer to us, you know, like her head and her hand, for example, should look really close to us. And the things that are far away from us, like her feet, should look really far away. So I just stretched that distance much further than you otherwise would. And here, let me pull in a reference image of something that's a little bit less exaggerated. Just give an idea there. There's my reference folder. So I'll pull in some that are a little bit more exaggerated and some that are a little bit less. So let's see. Let me find one that's very exaggerated. I know I have a couple, because I've used many a photo reference to kind of help me draw some of these things. I know I do. Where are they? Reference Doko. Why can't I find it? I have one folder and only a couple of dozen images. Okay, well, I'll grab one that's not super exaggerated first then. So this lady here, the most obvious form of perspective is just a foreshortening. And you can see here that her front part, her upper torso here, is coming forward, whereas here it's going back. And there's not very much exaggeration here. She is very much going forward. Let me find a good image. We might use some anime here. And we'll see what happens. We'll just go for some ridiculous stuff. Preferably in a way that will not get me banned. Let's see. The most obvious tends to be like a fisheye perspective. Oh, this is perfect. Hell yeah. Okay, let me go save this and I'll bring it up. And we can get a really hilarious image of a cow. That's what I found, and I think it's perfect. So let me see. Where is my reference folder? Oh, I don't actually have one for animals. Let's fix that. Okay. So I'll try to pull that up here. Can I open it? Yeah, I can. Okay. So it's not a high quality image, but you know what? That's fine for our purposes. So here, this isn't super exaggerated. It's maybe relative to what's realistic, but then you get this freaking cow. Like, look at this thing's head relative to its little feet in the back here. Like, that's absurd. But that's basically what it means to just stretch perspective as far as you can. It's, you make the head, or anything that is close to you, just really, really big. And you can play with that and do all sorts of neat things. So let's see if I can find something really good of just a nice illustration that kind of illustrates what I like. Where you can just really show some nice action if you do it right. Yeah, this is pretty good. It's technically a GIF. Let's see if Krita will let me open the frame I want. I'm not sure if it will. It's not the first one. Okay, no, I should find a different one. Okay, well, it's fine. I think I can just kind of talk about it. So, if we just go ahead and hide Nitty for a second here, and I can do something here, because one way that's pretty fun to do is if you do like reverse triangle compositions. So what that looks like is you have basically your character, you'll have their shoulders coming up here, and then they'll just have their little feet get really small here, and it just kind of arch your back really strong, head really big up here. And the way that I often see this kind of thing done is with like a superhero character coming up and punching something in the foreground, and so their arm just gets huge, and then you can see their fist coming out there. And so this is a super quick and dirty doodle. I'll give him some hair because I feel like it. But yeah, and you can do really cool things with that, and this does not do it justice. But you can do really awesome things and just make things look really heroic and dramatic with that kind of thing. Let me try a different search here and see if I can find a better one. But it's been common in even Western superhero comics for a long time. Just, like, how many times have you seen a pose similar to this? If I just go ahead and pull up another image here. Extremely common in superhero comics of any kind, Western or Eastern, like just this kind of thing, where you can see how tiny the feet get versus how big that is, and it makes everything look big and grand and heroic, and it's fantastic. So this is something I've been kind of wanting to learn how to do, and I want to push it really hard. Like, I can do stuff like this okay-ish. I still have a bit of trouble with foreshortening. Foreshortening is pretty hard. But just being able to go super hard and being able to get things like this, like, that is super fun. I like it. So that's the kind of thing that I've been wanting to learn how to do. And I mean, just look how dramatic this cow is. Like, this is just a freaking cow. And yet here it's coming right at you. It's coming right at you. And I just think it's very stylish and very cool. So I'm gonna go ahead. You know what? I'll keep them up for the rest of the stream. So, at its core, that's all perspective is. You bring the stuff... You bring stuff that's close forward, you send stuff that's back, and you make it smaller, and the stuff that comes forward gets bigger. And then the more you exaggerate that difference, the more you start getting stuff like this. and I dig it. So I just kind of want to learn how to do it. And it takes a lot out of me. But you know what? I think it's worth it. I really do think that once I get the hang of it, it's going to be very cool. And I look forward to that day. Well, no, I'm looking at the image here, and I think I managed to do it. She looks like an absolute gremlin. I fear that she might look a little bit more chibi than I intended, but, you know, if that's the impression people get, I don't actually really mind. It's not quite what I was going for, but, you know, I think that I'm probably going to mess it up a lot before I get it right. One thing that I have noticed is that when doing this kind of perspective, it seems pretty hard to do it from straight-on angles. So here I did it from almost straight above her. And when I see a lot of people do it, I see them doing it at a little bit less of a sharp angle. So I might try that a little bit more too. I think I'm just gonna have to, you know, go out and look for a bunch of things that I like and feel their secrets. Use that to find some more poses and stuff. Maybe copy a few poses before I start trying to imagine them like I am now. It's not gonna stop me for the rest of the series. I'm still just gonna do it. But I think that might actually help me get good. Yeah, you know, I haven't talked about this much either, but part of the reason that I highly suggest looking for art that you like in order to help you get good is that you can kind of copy some of what they do. You don't have to do it one for one. I'm not like suggesting tracing or anything. I don't actually think tracing will help you very much. But just kind of looking at what they do. Like, if I wanted to, say, draw a pose like this, I could maybe draw, I don't know, some VTuber, one of my original characters, whatever, doing this kind of pose. And rather than trying to copy it one-to-one, because, you know, I draw mostly girls, and girls don't tend to have muscles like this. And maybe I put a skirt on her or something, I can look at the general shape of this, whereas I see that most of the time, I tend to see arms as straight lines in two groups, but I see that there's a really big curve around this part of the arm here. And that might be muscles, but that might also be a perspective thing, so I can kind of keep that in mind. And when I look at the hips here, they go really far back, because I don't actually know who this character is. And then I can see that this leg is coming forward, and so most of the back of his leg is back there, and that kind of thing. So it can help you get certain details done. And in this case, I was focusing on the pose, but I can adapt that into, you know, some of my styles, so I can make the edges straighter, or I can not necessarily copy the exact kind of shading that this person does. Or, you know, since I'd probably be drawing a female character, I can give them a female physique, less muscular, more breast, more hip, that kind of thing. And you know, just go from there. Just use this as a guideline to kind of help me out or something. So that's good. And since I already know that I like this pose, I know that it's safe for me to kind of copy the pose. And I can compare what I draw in my copied pose, again, not traced, just referenced, and go from there. And one thing I'm doing on the Katya drawing is I'm referencing a bunch of art from Path to Nowhere. And because I really like the shading style that artist uses. So I'm drawing a completely different image. I'm not even trying to imitate the type of composition or lighting that this artist likes. I'm using my own, but I'm just going to go look periodically of just being like, okay, how would this artist handle the clothes? What do I like about the way the face looks from this artist, and what colors should I use to try to get a similar effect? And that kind of thing. So there's two different ways to potentially study things. And I am comparing it to someone that I personally think has done what I want to do very successfully. So that this way, when I go and look at my drawing, I can go look at the successful version and be like, okay, did I succeed? Where do I think that the artist I'm referencing did it better than what I'm trying to do? And where did I perhaps fail in what I was trying to do? What could I do a little bit better? And why does this look better on this artist compared to what I drew? And really dig into that and maybe find a way to fix it in order to make it look how I want it to look. But the fact that I have another artist that did it successfully, again, very important that they are successful in what you want to do, basically means that I have something that I can look at, something that I already think looks good, so I don't have to guess. And I can just try to get closer and closer to them until I'm satisfied, or until I decide, you know what, I want to break the rules like this, so I'm gonna go find a different artist that's doing this other thing successfully, and try to move toward them or something. But being able to have a small comparison there, so this way you're not relying on your own instinct that may not even be properly developed yet, is really, really helpful. Because, I mean, after all, you're trying to develop the instinct. You can't do it yet. That's exactly why you're trying to learn. If you could already do it, there would be no need to learn. So, finding someone that already can do it, it will help you align your instincts and your skills to what you want to do. And you'll have a direct reference that you can just look at. So, you know, I've heard it with pretty much any creative pursuit. If you want to learn how to write, you read more books. So this way you can develop your instincts and get a better idea for what's working and what's not. If you want to develop games, you go play some video games. So this way you can align your instincts and figure out what works and what doesn't. If you want to be an artist, go look at art. Lots of it. I'd even suggest styles different from what you want to do. I do look at a lot of, like, Renaissance art, or, you know, some of my personal favorites, stuff from, you know, prehistory, ancient world, ancient Incan, Egyptian, Indonesian. Those ones in particular I do really like, so I look at them a lot. Hell, you know, you can go look at some cave drawings. They're pretty rad too. It's really helpful just to have a good view of lots of different things. I'm still just staring at the proportions here and seeing if there's anything I want to fix. But no, I think it's right. It's just, I don't know, something about her torso looks short. How do I make it not look short? Okay, fine. Like, I don't know, do I need to bring the skirt a little further forward? I guess I'll try it, I don't know. How do you make a top-down view not feel short? What did I do wrong? I don't have a reference. I cannot compare to someone that did it successfully. So I just kind of have to flail and guess and, you know, hope for the best. Okay. Actually, I needed to tuck it in a little bit, so there we go. I guess that works. Art is hard, by the way. It's really hard. Art is really hard. Okay. But no, her shoulders feel right to me. The length of this arm feels okay. The length of this arm feels okay. Her legs feel okay. Her feet feel okay. No, I kind of want the little bit of tummy showing there. Yeah, I do want that there. I don't know. We'll see if I figure it out when I stare at this tomorrow, but if she looks a little bit more in the super deformed territory, I can deal. As long as it doesn't look bad. I think that'll be fine by me. Yeah. I don't know, is there anything else I want to talk about? Like, I talked about basics of perspective, how to study stuff. Oh, there's only about 10 minutes left. I swear there was something cute my kids did, but they do so much cute stuff all the time I don't always remember. They've, my son's been having this thing where he combines two words that basically mean the same thing to refer to specific things. Like today, he wanted to make something in this one particular game. And rather than, you know, calling it an arena or setting up the characters in it for battle, it was a battle fight. And sometimes when he's pretending to, you know, be super strong or having a lot of power, it's power energy. It's so adorable. I love them. And it was really cute because my daughter really liked just the way power energy sounded, I guess. And she made her first OC power energy. She drew him. It was great. I can't quite remember what it looked like because, to be fair, she was 5 and it was basically just a big triangle with a lightning bolt on it, but it was still very cute. My daughter has been getting super into drawing things. She just wants to draw stuff all the time, and I'm all for it. She's been getting pretty good. Her people have bodies now. Like, actual bodies. Because you see, it's really interesting watching little kids draw. Because when they're really little, they draw a head, and then they draw the arms and legs coming out of the head. Sometimes they don't even do that much. But, yeah, they'll have a head and then the arms and legs will come out of the head. And then after a while, they start drawing little bodies to go with it. And my daughter's at that stage, so she's firmly drawing bodies. And then after a while, they'll start noticing other little things, like necks. And the fact that we kind of have upper and lower body and feet. And stuff like that. So she's doing feet, she's doing hands and stuff like that. And okay, that's fine. Old movies are old. I never watched it. But hello there, Choo-Choo. And welcome. We're just kind of wrapping up here. I'm talking about developmental stages of art, and I think it's fascinating. I really like childhood development. It can tell you a lot about how people function. That's something I can ramble about for a long time, but there's no time to ramble about that today. Yeah. So I suppose I'll start here, or stop here. I look forward to seeing how my daughter's art grows. I think she has the potential to get good if she wants to. Well, we'll see what she ends up wanting to do. You know, 10 years down the line. I am so looking forward to seeing what she's going to be like 10 years from now. It's going to be great. But I suppose I will go ahead and stop here for today. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.